everybody, it is Cito Capote, and we're back with another video. It's been a while. I've been sick. We're doing a hero video today. This is the long version of the video, so for people who are new to the deck, for people who are trying to get into the deck and don't really know the deck's effects, or who people just want to study up on the deck, see where it's like, what its good cards are, what its bad cards are, how to play against it. This is the video for you. If you just want ratios and just want like, oh hey, I want a new twist on the deck, I'll put the video in the link down below. I made a quick version where it's just like 10-15 minutes of just going through the cards, going through the ratios, and a little explanation on Dark Angel, which I think is really important right now. So the thing that made me change up the deck is the recent Nationals top that happened with Heroes. And I'll go into everything when I do the deck profile, but I sort of like took into account what they did and was like, yeah, that's pretty good. So I changed the deck up a lot, actually. And here it is. I'm playing 3 Stratos. 3 Stratos I think is really good. I don't like playing 2 or less because I see a lot of people cutting it down because they say your hero lives is at 3, and like, yeah, but it is, but you always want, like, if you see like a hero lives and then another Stratos in hand, that's really good because then you can search 2 things and it's not once per turn, so you can, it's really good. There's a reason why Stratos was banned for a long time, and it's recently, and it just shows how power craft cards have gone if Stratos is just like okay now, because it's so powerful. What it does is when it's special summon, when it's number one special summon, you can either destroy spells or traps non-targeting up to the number of other hero monsters you control, accept this card. So it can even be another Stratos. It just says accept this card, and then it's not even accept like its name, and then add a hero monster from deck to hand, which is usually where you're going to be using it for. But it's also good to clear back row later on in the turn. So if you start off your combo with a hero lives and then decide to do Stratos instead of Shadow Mist, you do your combo, wait till you get a bunch of heroes on the field, and if they're like a bunch of reactive traps they can activate, or stuff that like helps it on later turn, you can just do bam and then clear their back row, which is really good, especially if they're like battle traps, if you're playing against some like jank player or something. But yeah, I think the three Stratos is definitely correct. It's such a powerful card, and it's not once per turn, which is why playing it at 3 is so good. It's just insane. It's an insane card, and I don't see why people wouldn't play it at 3. But that's just me. If you, again, with any of these deck profiles, if you disagree with anything I say, if you have anything to say about like my deck building or anything, please let me know. I'm always willing to discuss things and willing to explain my reasoning even more, because I know I'm not the best in the moment, but once I'm given a question, I can answer it pretty like thoroughly, and give my explanation, which is what happened on a bunch of my Dark Magician deck profiles. But anyway, just, yeah, and if you have any like thoughts, just feel free to put in the comments. I'd love to discuss. I love this deck so much. It's my favorite. There's a reason why all the cards in this in the deck are super shiny. It's because this is my childhood, man. This deck is what I grew up with. Yeah, but anyway, let's get on to the next cards. Actually, no. I actually wanted to explain why I'm not playing a certain card. Now, a lot of you may have seen, especially those of you who are new to the deck, might have read a card called Solid Soldier and say, oh, that's a pretty good card. You get an extra normal summon. And yes, you do get an extra normal summon. You do get to summon your extra Stratos or your extra Shadow Mist or your Vion, and that's fantastic. That's a good effect. But the problem is a lot of people are playing Effect Negation, whether it be Imperm, whether you be Effect Veiler now because of the Punkthyrion Dragon Dark thing, the Vampire Zombie, all the things that mill. They're playing the light targets, which is Effect Veiler, which is Ghost Ogre, which is what's it called? All that stuff. Mainly Effect Veiler and Imperm. And with that, if you use your Solid Soldier and you don't have a Ferris and another hero monster, so a total of 3 hero monsters in hand, or Fusion Destiny, your turn ends, and that sucks. Also, with with what's it called with Stratos as a normal summon, for example. You can, if you have mass change in hand, there's a way to dodge those effect negations, and it's the same thing with Solid Soldier. But with Solid Soldier, you get that extra normal summon, right? But if you're banking on that extra normal summon and having Solid Soldier on the field, you can't really, which is like a lot of the time the case, or you're banking on that Solid Soldier effect to get the extra summon from the graveyard. It's just, it's not as consistent because it's not as good. Because if you mass change Stratos, you get Blast, which is an amazing card. It has a person's attack. As a quick effect, it bounces spell and trap cards, so it's good against stuff like Eldritch players, which play stuff like Skill Drain and just stuff like that. You can bounce it back to the hand and get another turn's reprieve, or you can, or against field spells, which is really good if they activate a like a once per turn field spell, you can bounce it back to the hand. Mainly the Therion field spell comes into mind. Comes to mind. Whereas Diane, when he destroys a monster by battle, he can summon a level 1 to 4 hero monster from, or maybe even just elemental hero monster from the deck, which is fine. It's great. Yeah, you summon a monster from deck, but when are you ever going to get battle phase on turn 1 first, or even to turn 2? When are you ever going to summon Diane and keep it on the field to be able to beat over something? It's not going to happen, and I think that's why Solid Soldier isn't a really good card. But that's just me. I might be wrong. If you think differently, please let me know. But anyway, let's get on to the next cards. Next, again, this might be a little more controversial as well, but 2 Vision Hero Ferris. I like Ferris at 2 because I don't think that the Vision Hero line is too necessary to the deck. It's really good for sure, but I think it's better. Like, if you need it, then you can search it with basically anything in the deck. You can search it with Vion sending Shadow Mist beating into your, like, Shadow Mist mass change, getting Shadow Mist to the graveyard with something like Droplet, with Stratos even. So if you need it and you don't have it, you can get it really easily. And even through interruption, like with a mass change or with a droplet or something like that. Or if you just open it, it's great. But most of the time, most of the time, I don't use this till later. Most of the time, I wait for when they break my board to be able to use this, because having those monsters on the field, being able to get a lot of monsters on the field later in the game, is a lot harder than earlier in the game. And one of the things that I find Hero struggles with is recursion and being able to play the long game, because we go hard and we go fast. Like, we make big monsters and monsters that are really good, but it takes up a lot of resources. And once, because I only play one increase, which you could fix this problem with playing another Ferris and another increase. But I think there are just more powerful cards that are better early game that you can be playing right now. And better cards for interruption to your opponent, because that's another thing where the deck is weak. There's very little space in the deck to put in interruptions, because of all the protective cards that you need to play, because of all the stuff that you need to play to sort of play around the weaker points of the deck. So I think cutting down Ferris to 2 and increase to 1 is good, because, again, like, you don't want to use it. I don't want to use this until later game. And if you do need it, then you can search it. So it's like, it's not necessary at 3. I don't think the Vision Hero package is what is the most impactful thing right now in Heroes. I think it's great. It's a great addition to the deck, but it's not as necessary as it was pre-Burst of Destiny, pre-Denier, pre-Malicious, Fusion Destiny actually being super good. But yeah, that's just me. Even with Fusion Destiny at 2, I still only want to play this at 2. Maybe 3. Maybe Ferris at 3, but I will always keep Increase at 1. Always Increase at 1. But again, with Increase at 1, I think just Ferris at 2 is better. Now, what does this card do? And again, this, once you read the effect, it's a really good effect, but it's just, I don't like this at 3. If you can discard one other hero monster, special summon this card from your hand. If this card is no more special summon, you can place one Vision Hero monster from your deck, except Vision Hero Ferris, to your spell and trap card zone, and you can't summon hero monsters. You can't summon anything but hero monsters for the rest of the turn. Usually, you're going to be setting increase, which is the next card on our list. If you take battle damage or effect damage with this card in your graveyard, you can place this card in your spell and trap card zone as a continuous trap, and you do the same with Ferris. And if this card is a continuous trap, you can tribute a hero monster, summon it, usually the Ferris that you summoned it with, and then summon a Vision Hero from deck. And that Vision Hero, again, increase that one because even if you open increase, it is a brick, but it's like you can still use it, you can still pitch it for other stuff and use it later. And again, I think the Vision Hero line is better later than it is earlier in the game, so it's not the end of the world. And on top of that, it's just I don't think it's as necessary. Vion is still necessary, but I don't think Ferris and increase. I think having them deck is necessary, but not at like the big numbers that they were. Not as like this is the only thing I can do and I need this to resolve. It's not that's not the case anymore. I think the deck has grown so much and it's just a lot different now. And the next card is Vion. If this two Vion, by the way. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send one hero monster from your deck to the graveyard, and then as an ignition effect, you can banish a hero monster from your graveyard to add a poly to hand. Funnily enough, the poly effect is not once per turn, so if you have two Vions on the field, you can use them both. I don't play two poly, which is something I've been thinking about playing two poly, but we'll see. I still need to test it out. But yeah, anyway, this is a really good starter if you have another hero monster in hand because you can just like search poly and then fuse it. This is a good one card combo with just getting the Miracle Fusion line online and then drawing into cards, maybe Fusion Destiny and or Mass Change even to go into Dark Law and then just the old line that you could do. And it's just a good extender with getting poly. It's good extended by sending Shadow Mist. It's just really great. I don't play this at 3 because you only play 2 Shadow Mist, and that's usually what you want to send. You very rarely do you send the Malicious because you need something to banish for poly, right? Unless you already have poly in hand, usually you're going to banish the card that you send with this, especially going first when you don't have anything in your graveyard. Later on, it's fine, but I don't want to see 2 copies of this in my hand, especially since you use it for the Ferris line. I think 2 copies is best. Then we're playing 2 Shadow Mist. Again, you don't want to see 2 of these in hand because it's once per turn. Both of the effects are once per turn, and you can just send it from grave, right? But you do want multiple uses of this card because it's just a search, and you can search Miracle Fusion with it, which not Miracle Fusion, Mass Change. Sorry. If this card is special summon, you can add one change card, so Mass Change from your deck to your hand. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one hero monster from your deck to your hand, and you can use either and each effect of once per turn. Of this card once per turn. So one of either effect and only once that turn. Now, this is a really good extender because you can send it with Vion, you can send it with Ferris, you can send it with anything. You can even use it for poly to summon Sunrise and then search off of that and go into other stuff, which is really good. Then we're going into the Destiny Hero monsters. So we're going into Malicious. Malicious is at 2, and that's why we're playing it 2. If I were 3 copies, I would play 3 copies. Because this card is very simple, but also very insane. So you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon, as cost, by the way, to special summon one Destiny Hero Malicious from your deck, which is really cool. Yeah, it's just very, very nice. Next, let's go into Destiny Hero Denier. So, if this card is normal or special summon, you can take one of your Destiny Hero monsters from your deck or graveyard to the or banish zone and place it on top of your deck. And if you can only use this once per turn, and if a Destiny Hero monster is in your graveyard or on field, and this card is in the graveyard, you can special summon it, and that's once per duel. So you can proc the put back effect. It's basically a 3rd copy of Malicious every turn, or another copy of Malicious every turn that you can summon it, which is very often considering you have Cross Crusader, considering its own effect, and even with Liquid Soldier later on in the game if you'd already used Poly. Which is why Liquid Soldier is just such an insane card. But either way, it's just really good. I wouldn't play this at more than one copy because you always want to see it in the graveyard, right? And because each of its effects are once per turn or once per duel, you're never going to be able to use two copies of it. You're never going to be able to like take advantage of more copies of it in the deck, and you're always going to see it in the graveyard, right? So it's just not worth playing it more than one copy. If you want to see it soon, maybe if you're playing pure Destiny heroes, but if you're playing this like varied like more powerful heroes strategy, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's even worth it. Not even necessary is the right word, just not good is the right word. Next, the MVP of the deck is Destiny Hero Dark Angel. Now this is the reason why I think the guy topped nationals. He made a very good meta call and he found this card, and I didn't know, like, I didn't even know it existed. So if you have three or more Destiny Hero monsters in your graveyard, you can discard this card and special summon a Destiny Hero from your graveyard to your opponent's side of the field. And while this card is on the field, when a spell card you activate resolves, negate that effect, and if you do, or if it did not have an effect, destroy that card. During your standby phase, if you can banish one card and add one Destiny Hero, and banish one Destiny Hero monster from your graveyard to put to the top of your deck one normal spell from your deck, and your opponent can do that too. Now, this card is a bit tricky if you don't know Yu-Gi-Oh rulings that well. So I'll explain the process for this card real quick. So usually what you're going to do is either with Fusion Destiny or Poly, you're going to have Malicious and Denier in the grave and DPE on the field. So these cards, this is your graveyard, this is your DPE. Then you're going to activate DPE, pop it, and like go whoop it up. So it goes to the graveyard. You now have three Destiny Heroes monsters. Now, the effect to discard is not an effect, it is cost. So you activate the effect, pay the cost to send the Destiny Hero Dark Angel to your graveyard. Now, then the effect resolves, and you can summon a Destiny Hero from your graveyard to your opponent's side of the field. Now, Destiny Hero Dark Angel is now in the graveyard, so you can choose him to summon to your opponent's side of the field. And because his effect reads you, the you that it is referring to is not the person who played the card, not the person who really owned the card, is the person who is currently in control of the card and has the card on their field, which is your opponent. So that means when you do that, your opponent now can't resolve the effects of spell cards that are on the field. So it's basically Imperial Order for your opponent. While he's on the field. And the only real way to get rid of this in most decks is with Forbidden Droplet, which if they open, right? They're going to negate your board anyway. You just gave them an extra material. But if they don't have Forbidden Droplet, that means they can't use anything like Super Poly, Lightning Storm, Raigeki, Dark Hole, all the things that kill your board. Sorry. They can't use, which is insane, which is one of the weaknesses the deck had, right? It lost to something as simple as Raigeki, which most decks don't lose to. So it makes the deck a lot more safe, although I don't recommend only going for this and DPE if you don't know your matchup. I always turn one, I only go for Dark Angel if I know that I can make Dark Law as well. I don't use it with Plasma because you can't use it with Plasma. The effect would be negated. But, yeah. I think that's the way to do it. And it's just a really good card. It kills Branded. It works against Sword Soul. It kills Plunder Patrol. It not kills Plunder Patrol. It hurts Plunder Patrol. And, it hurts Therion. It hurts Therion Punk. It hurts all the decks, and it kills Rogue, right? So it's just really good. Now, let's go on to the next cards. One elemental hero, Liquid Soldier. So what this does is when it's normal summoned, you can special summon a level 4 hero monster from your graveyard, or when it's used as fusion material and went to the graveyard or banished, you can draw 2 cards and discard 1 card. Now this is really good as a resource loop, which I'll explain later when I get to the Miracle Fusion, but it's a really good card. I'm thinking of bumping up to 2 when it becomes cheaper, because right now it's super expensive and I'm broke, which you wouldn't think of seeing all the rarities of my deck, but I trade for things. It's fine. Then we play 1 Plasma. Plasma is so his effect is when this card's on the field, your opponent's effects, monster effects on the field are negated, and once per turn, you can target a monster your opponent controls and absorb it, which is equip it to this card and gain half its attack. You can only do that during your turn, but it's really good to get this card's attack up. Now, one of the biggest weaknesses of Plasma is its low attack. It has low stats. It has 1900 attack and 600 defense. So that means you can't put it in defense. You have to put it in attack, or anything can get over it. And but with DPE, it kind of solves this problem because every card loses 200 attack for every hero monster in your graveyard, which is usually a lot. So at minimum, they're going to be losing like 800 attack, and that's a lot. Instead of being 2,000 or 1,900, they have to be 28 to 27. So it's really good. It's really good. And yeah. Anyway, that's Plasma. It's the main boss monster. It's usually what you're going to be going into if you don't have access to Dark Law or Dark Angel. If you want to do Dark Angel turn 1 without any like backup, then go ahead, but I don't recommend it. Then Evil Hero Dusted Gold, his effect is basically search Dark Calling, because you're never going to summon him. If you do, you're in a very bad spot. If you have a fusion monster, like, yeah, 2100 beat stick, but yeah, it's just usually use that to search Dark Calling. Then one elemental hero on his Neos. What this does is you can discard it to make your hero monster gain 2,500 attack. It does also have an effect on the field where you can gain the attack of a monster you tribute, but you're never going to summon this card, and if you do, then I don't know what you're doing. But you can activate during the damage step, and they can't respond with anything that doesn't negate activations, which is really important. Then 3 Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is honestly right now I think the best hand trap in the game, besides Token Collector, but I side deck that. So add 1 card from the deck to the hand. When your opponent adds 1 card to the deck to the hand, special summons or adds a card. Special summons from the deck or sends a card from the deck to the graveyard, you can negate that effect by discarding this card. And that is a really powerful effect. If you know, search effects and send effects and everything are very powerful in this game, and stopping a key search or a key send can just stop your opponent's turn if they don't have the right cards in their hand. Then we're playing 3 Hero Lives. So a hero lives is really good. When you control no face up monsters, pay half your life points and special summon 1 level 4 or higher elemental hero monster from level 4 or lower. Higher would be insane. Elemental hero monster from your deck. So usually that's Stratos or Shadow Mist. Usually if you have Stratos in hand, or you have a starter in hand, or a way of doing your whole combo, I'd do Shadow Mist to get Dark Law, or if your opponent's like really weak against Dark Law, then just do Shadow Mist to be able to get that Dark Law, and to get that Mass Change. Mass Change is your way of getting to Dark Law into Blast. Basically you just switch out a monster for a monster in the extra deck by targeting it. And yeah, then Dark Calling, this is your way of getting Bane out. It's a fusion card. All of these are just fusion cards. 1 Poly, I'm thinking of getting of putting another one in here. I'm not really sure, but yeah, that's just what I'm thinking. But yeah, 1 Poly. 1 Miracle Fusion. Now, the resource loop that I was talking about is you can use Poly to summon the Solid Soldier. Or sorry, Poly to summon whatever. To summon the Sunrise, and then you draw 2, discard 1 off Liquid Soldier, and then you use this the next turn to do that again. It's really good in the late game when your opponent can't really kill you, and you just need resources, right? You need to dig deeper into your deck to find those cards that you need. And also, if you just happen to draw Miracle Fusion later on, it's a way to get a high-level monster on the board to be able to go into DPE again. By getting Sunrise, or even if you have Liquid Soldier in graveyard for some reason, drawing 2 and getting that high level monster, and to clear off the board by the absolute 0, which is just really good. Then we're playing 3 Super Poly. So this is a fusion spell that you can use your opponent's monsters on the field as well as your monsters on the field. Now this is really good because a lot of fusion spells are in the thing, a lot of dark monsters are in the format, which is really good with the fusion monsters I'm going to put in a bit. Then 2 Fusion Destiny. This fusion summons a monster that lists Destiny Hero in their text or in their fusion requirements from the hand or deck. 1 Reinforcement in the Army. This is basically just another copy of Stratos as a spell card. 1 Called by the Grave. So when your opponent discards, activates a hand trap, you can Called by the Grave it and negate its effect by banishing it. Or just banish any monster that is in the graveyard and negate its effects. Then we're playing, this is something that I don't know about yet. We're playing either 3 droplet or 2 droplet and 1 change of heart. I put it in change of heart because my friend is boring forbidden droplet from me. And honestly, I've liked having the change of heart more than I have the droplet because later in the game, change of heart, the fact that you can attack with your opponent's monster actually comes up a lot. It's just really good. It's insane. I really like a change of heart in the main deck just because again later game or even if going first, having it for later and having your combo is just really good. Basically what this does is you activate it, you target a monster and then steal it for the turn. Then Forbidden Droplet, what this does is you discard a number of discard or send. Actually, it's send a number of cards from your hand or field to the graveyard and negate that many monster effects on the field on your opponent's field and half their attacks. And if you do, you can your opponent can't respond with cards that you sent to the graveyard, like the types. Sorry, that's really bad. I'm really tired. They can't respond with the same type of cards that you sent to the graveyard. So, with like if you send a spell, they can't respond to the spell. If you send a monster, they can't respond to a monster. So usually you're going to send monster effects and get rid of their negates, right? So you can play on. Now let's go into the extra deck. 2 Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer. Now this is really good, and I think it's even better at 2 in the extra deck. Now, 1, because it's cheaper, but also because you can play Dark Angel now, and Dark Angel isn't always the thing you're going to go for. So monsters your opponent controls lose 200 attack for every hero monster in your graveyard. Actually, hero card, that's crazy. You can only use each of the following effects of Destiny Hero Destroy Phoenix Enforcer once per turn. Quick effect, you can destroy both 1 card you control and 1 card on the field. If this card is destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can activate this effect. Special summon 1 Destiny Hero monster from your graveyard during the standby phase of the next turn. So this is really good. It's an insane card. It's crazy. There's a reason why it saw a stint of play once everyone was playing Fusion Destiny, and it's because there's a lot of reasons, but you can do so much with that card. It protects your monsters from the biggest thing about your 2 boss monsters, or the 2 big boss monsters, Dark Law and Plasma, are their low stats. And with this, it doesn't matter anymore with the low stats because they just lose so much attack that it just doesn't matter anymore. Then for masked hero targets, we're paying 1 blast. Like I explained before, when he's summoned, he can half the attack of a monster, and as a quick effect, you can pay 500 life points and bounce a spell and trap card your opponent controls. So this is really good to get rid of continuous traps and field spells, or any just back row that your opponent controls. It's just really good. It's a really good mass change target for Stratos, and it's a way to ensure that your Stratos goes off, right? Then Dark Law. Dark Law is my favorite card. Oh my gosh, I love this. But anyway, what does Dark Law do? So, it has to be summoned with mass change. Cannot be split. You can't summon this from the graveyard because it's rude. But any card sent to your opponent's graveyard is banished instead. It's Macrocosmos, and once per turn, if your opponent's adds a card from the deck to the hand, except during the draw phase or damage step, you can banish 1 random card to your opponent's hand from your opponent's hand. So it's better Macrocosmos with attack points. Let's go. Dark Law is insane, man. I love him so much. He's my favorite card of all time. Then Bane. So what he does, you summon this with Dark Calling. It cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects during your opponent's main phase. During your main phase, you can destroy all monsters your opponent controls with attack less or equal to this card's. Also, if this card gains 200 attack for each monster destroyed this way, and cannot declare attack with other monsters this turn, except with hero monsters. So it doesn't really usually matter, and it's a really good way to clear boards, and it's just a big guy that can't be destroyed. Then the Resource Loop, they do have their own effects, which are actually pretty decent. So this card, Sunrise, what it does is your monsters gain 200 attack for every attribute you control. If this card is special summon, you can add a Miracle Fusion from your deck to your hand, and when attack is declared or involving a hero monster that you control, you can target one one card on the field and destroy it. Then whatever this card's called, this card gains 500 attack for every face-up water monster in the field except Absolute Zero, which doesn't really come up all the time. But there's going to be a water monster deck soon, so maybe this will come up, who knows. When this card leaves the field, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Yeah, pretty good. Then Cross Crusader. This is the best extender in the deck, and it's also the reason why Adventure Hero doesn't work, which would be so cool because it's Adventure Heroes, man. But it'd be Adventurous Heroes, man. It'd be cool. So when this card is Link Summon, you can special summon 1 Destiny Hero monster from your graveyard, and you can tribute one Destiny hero monster to add one hero monster with a different name from your deck to your hand. Then you can only use each effective across Crusader once per turn. Um, and you cannot activate the effective cards except hero monsters this turn. So, yeah, kind of lame. Locks you into heroes for the whole turn. Then for the Link monsters, for the other Link monsters, we've got Dread Decimator. This basically just boosts your monster's attack for every hero monster in your graveyard, for every monster he points to, and for him. It's basically just a way to go for game. And then Wonder Driver is basically your second version of Poly. This is the reason why I'm debating putting the second Poly in the deck, because with this you don't really need to, but it's just I don't know which way is better, because you don't really need the extra deck. Well, it could be something else in the extra deck. I don't know, man. I don't know. But if a hero monster is normally special summoned to this zone this card points to, target one polymerization spell card, fusion spell card, or one change spell card in your graveyard and set that target to your field. And you can only use this effect on Wonder Driver once per turn. And if this card is destroyed by a battle and sent to the graveyard, or if this card in your possession is destroyed by your opponent's card effects and sent to your graveyard, special summon hero monster from your hand, which sometimes comes up, but not really. And then we're playing the super poly targets. Now, these are just super poly targets, right? So what this does is, Mundragon in the Swamp. The main things are their fusion materials. So 2 monsters with the same attribute but different types. Very good. Your opponent cannot target this card and monsters on the field with the same attribute with this card or card effects. Once per turn, you can declare one attribute, and this card becomes that attribute until the rest of the turn. So it's really good. It's targeting protection. Usually, this card I play because of Sword Soul. It's the reason why I don't think that Omni Heroes are really necessary, because in your deck you have Wind, you have Water, you have Dark, and you have Light. Light, not really. It's usually just Dark, Water, and thing. The main what's it called? The main Sword Soul boss monsters are Wind and Water. So you can just use this, summon Stratos or Liquid Soldier, and then Super Poly, which is better than the Omni Heroes because the Omni Heroes suck. Or you could just use Absolute Zero, right? You could just, but this is it's sometimes better than Absolute Zero, but it's really good. And then you can draw 2 off of it, so it's really good. But this is why I don't like playing the Omni Heroes. Then Starving Venom Fusion, and same thing with Plunder Patrol. Like, if they have to summon things with the attributes that you control, right? So it's like, then Starving Venom, it takes 2 dark monsters, and then you can gain attack equal to your attack your opponent. Special summon monster your opponent controls, and then when it's destroyed by your opponent, you can destroy a special summon monster on the field, which is really good. And then this one I think is the best out of the bunch. Dragos Stapelia. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, place one predator counter on it, and if you're and it is level 2 or higher, it becomes level 1 as long as the predator counter. Then negate the activation of effects your opponent controls that have predator counters. So it's really good. It's a negate, and yeah. But that's the end of the deck profile. Please let me know what you think down below. I'd really love your input. I know I'm not the best player, not the best deck builder, right? I have some flaws. I'm not perfect. I don't top nationals. I don't do whatever. So I might. This is just what I think is good. If you guys think something else is good, please let me know down below. I might do. I think I'm gonna do other videos on like maybe hero cards that I think are good, like whatever hero support and whatever. I think that's the next video I'm going to do. Who knows? Maybe I'll do another deck profile on one of my jankier decks. We'll see. But yeah, any video suggestions you want, please let me know down below. And I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, maybe subscribe. And if you want, ring the notification bell for more videos. I'll see you guys later. I hope you have a great day.